What's up everybody, Adam here, and I'm coming to you today with another contest entry video. This one's going out to my boy Enrique over at Bigeez Comics, celebrating, 259 subscribers? I didn't check what you're at. I'm sure you're above that at this point. You seem to be growing at a rapid rate, amigo, so keep up the good work there. But what Big E wanted to see was like 5 to 10 comics that we want to send out for grading, CGC, PGX, whatever the case may be. I'm a CGC guy. I don't know why. That's just the one I prefer. I'm going to show you the books that I want to get graded. Then I'm also going to share the graded books I already have. So just kind of, show you what a graded book is and, the books that I want to start getting graded. So anyways, we're going to get right into that now. First up, we have Outcast #1. I read this book one time and then bagged it. I wasn't terribly impressed with the comic itself. I have the first trade. Wasn't terribly impressed with the story there either. But this bad boy is going to be a TV show soon. So I figured now's as good a time as any other to get it graded. And even if I don't want to hang on to it, it could be a good trade or sell it off to actually get a book I really want to get. So, Outcast, definitely on my list to get graded and sent out. Next up, probably again, nothing really fantastic. This is technically a Wizard Ace #12, and it is a reprinting of Bone issue 1. And I found this at a thrift store, and other than on the very back, I can probably clean this. I don't even know if you can really see it. There's a little smudge from where they put a price tag sticker. But this book otherwise is in pretty much perfect condition. The Bone series, if you're unfamiliar, is a black and white story. But I love the cover. And then when you actually pull the cover up, there's additional artwork underneath. Now, unfortunately, in a grading, you wouldn't be able to see that anymore. But it's really shiny, it's really neat, and I figured it was kind of a cool pickup for only $3. So I wouldn't mind getting that graded, having a Bone book graded, even if it is a Wizard Ace thing. But I still thought it was pretty cool. Next up, even though this book is a little beat up, I'll take it out so you can see. It is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I've had this book forever. In general, it's in pretty good shape, and I don't know if you'll really, you can see it pretty clearly on there. The spine is a little beat up. Not too bad, but I have a feeling that the way the spine is beat up, that's going to be enough to knock off quite a few points from it. When I was to send this guy in, I probably think I'd also get it pressed, just to see if it can help with any of that spine damage. But otherwise, it's in pretty good shape. So pretty proud I've had that and kept it in pretty good condition for as long as I have. Then, speaking of Spider-Man, I want to get this one graded, even though I know, actually there's 2 books in this I want to get graded, even though I feel they're probably both going to have pretty low grades, but if I can get them graded, kind of get a value for them, sell those, and then maybe get an upgraded version. The first one we have is Amazing Spider-Man #194, which is the first appearance of Black Cat, and this is a book that I actually got from a guy. He was selling, I think he was selling like 500 comics and he wanted $50. So I had a job as a newspaper boy. I gave him the $50 and I picked up all the books and this was included. I didn't know this was the first appearance of Black Cat at the time. In fact, I didn't even really know I even had this in my collection until about a couple of months ago. So it's pretty cool that this is in here, but you can see there's a lot of damage on the cover. There's a strike through in the barcode. Like I said, it's something to get graded. It's probably going to be a very low grade, but grading kind of ups the value of the book. So if I can sell this off and get, just a better copy of it and do it again. But yeah, it's a really cool book. I've always loved Black Cat. And then the other book right on the back, what is it? #15, yes. Amazing Spider-Man King Size Annual #15. Just a really cool cover. I featured this in the Villains cover video. I think that was for Longshanks. But yeah, I love it. It's also a Frank Miller cover, so it's another thing that's really cool. And it features, two of my favorite comic book heroes on there, the Punisher and Spider-Man. So again, it's pretty beat up. I mean, I don't even really have to take it out. You can kind of see the spine's kind of beat up there. And this is a way older book. It wasn't one of mine, so I can't say how the guy treated it before me. But again, if I can get it graded, get it out there, maybe get a better copy of it. Then we're going to get into a little Deadpool section here. First, we have Guardians Team Up number 10, the Deadpool variant. It's a, Expo 2015 exclusive. Got it at GameStop for $3. I've seen this book going for between 10 and 20 on eBay. So anytime I go to a GameStop, I try and see if they have any extra copies of this. But this is definitely one. I haven't opened it. It's still in the poly bag. They're probably, it looks like it's pretty much as close to perfect as it can. I don't really see any problems other than that's a hole in the poly bag here. But there's no damage on the comic there from the hole in the poly bag. But the cover looks pretty good unless there's a scratch underneath the poly bag that I can't see. So I imagine if I sent this in, this would come back as a really high grade. Next one, Cable and Deadpool numero uno. This book has been jumping up in value crazy since the release of the Deadpool movie, which I'm pretty surprised. I mean, I do understand, Cable might be in the next film, Deadpool movie, he's kind of exploding, but it really surprised me how much this book has jumped up. I honestly didn't think it would that quickly. But you can kind of see, yes, Cable and Deadpool number 2 on the back. I might go down the line, get the trades, and just get these all graded. But just kind of focusing on number 1 at the moment. If you look at the spine again, it's a little rough. I don't know if you can see it really well, but it's definitely a little scuffed. But it is, an older book. Let me see if I can get the exact date on this guy. I want to say it's like 2000 or something? 2004. But I mean, the interior still all looks really good. I always take really good care of my comics. But I mean, you can even see just from the inside, kind of how in the spine area, I don't know if you can see it perfectly, but it's a little rough looking on the inside, even on the spine. So I wouldn't expect like a really super high grade, but I figure with a press, it probably would come back pretty well. I'd be happy even if it came back in the 8s. I don't really expect this book to come back in the 9s based on how the spine looks. And then again, speaking of book with a little bit of a rough spine, but all in all, it's in pretty good condition, Wolverine number 88. This is another book that kind of bounces up and down with value. I've seen it anywhere between $20 and $50, so really it's kind of all over the place, and I think it's mainly just because of the randomness of, the Deadpool popularity. And again, you can see on there pretty clearly that it's got, a lot of the spine damage, but the interior, white pages, it's all still really good on the interior. Even still has this thing. I never even took that thing out, so that's got to be worth at least a couple bucks, right? But, look, white to off-white pages, it's nothing terrible. So, again, get it pressed, might come back with a, moderately decent score. Again, I'd be happy with like an 8. And that's one of those things where it's like, even if it's not a super high score, I could sell that off, get a better copy, get it graded again. That's kind of a way you can market those things. And then the last few aren't really like really super valuable books. They're just books that kind of mean a lot to me. First up, we have We Stand on Guard number 2. I'd like to get this one, and I'd like to find another copy of number 1, or I might even just take my copy of number 1 and get it done anyways. I love Brian K. Vaughan books, and I'm glad I was able to pick up this miniseries. I might just buy the trade of We Stand on Guard and just get all of them CGC'd, simply because I love Brian K. Vaughan's work, and the artwork in this is really cool, and all the covers are really cool, especially the first issue with the like mech and the Canadian flag and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. But, like I said, this is just one of those books that just personally to me, I really like it, and I'd like to get it graded. Which brings me to the next one, which is Green Lantern number 176. This is where I kind of started reading Green Lantern. It's also shortly before this series kind of ended. But this cover is just so freaking cool. And to have it, slabbed up like that would be really, really cool. Like, I would like to find another copy of, it's one of the Legion of Superheroes #1, and it's kind of the same thing. It's the fist, and it's one of the Legionnaires that has a Green Lantern ring and the Legionnaire's flight ring. So I'd also like to find another copy of that and get that graded as well. So, like I said, it's not really anything like fantastic or key, but it's a book that's always been important to me. And then the next two are actually two of the earliest comic books I can remember getting. And again, they're probably not anything special at all. And I don't necessarily want to get these two particular issues ones graded because they're kind of trash. They're from when I was little. I had no bagging and boarding when I was like 8 years old or anything like that. So these books are in really, really rough condition. But the first one up is Batman, The New Adventures, number 415. I'll take it out so you can see it. It's pretty rough. You can see it's pretty banged up. The white's getting pretty off-white. The spine, all of that is pretty dinged up. And, even look at the back of the Hulkster. There's a lot of, dents and stuff like that. But this is one of the very first comic books that I can remember getting and owning as a kid. So I would love to be able to find another copy of this book and get it graded just because, for the sentimental value. And that's what brings me to the last book, at least at the moment. I'm not even sure how many books this was. I feel like I may have done more than 10. I may not have done. I know I did at least 5. So we're in there. But the other one is Superman number 31 from May of 1989. 75 cents. 75 cents for a comic book. Just, what are we paying? $4 or $5 an issue now? 75 cents. And people were probably losing their minds back then that it cost that much. But we have this here with Superman in a giant form, crushing Metropolis. A hostile takeover by who, at the time, Lex Luthor had something going on with his hand. I don't really remember. And then Mr. I'm never going to say his name right, but Gilbert Gottfried was doing it. If you watch the cartoon, then you understand. But this was one of the first comic books I ever got. I'm pretty sure that Batman was the first one I ever got. It's either this one, that Batman, or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mighty Mutimals comic. One of those was the very first comic I ever got. I got this comic book at a 7-Eleven station on a trip from North Carolina to Pennsylvania during Christmas. And, I had nothing to do it was close to a 12-hour drive because we didn't know the fast way at the time. Anyways, 12-hour drive. And, Game Boy runs out of batteries, nothing to do. I read this comic book 5-6 times. And again, like I said, this copy really beat up. You can see it's, ripped here. There's nothing even really super amazing in this issue. I just remember reading it again and again and just seeing like how crazy Mixel it's probably easier to say his name backwards, but I mean all the different just like crazy visuals that you can do with him, and I loved it. I loved every single bit of this thing where he's taking the Lex Warriors and turning them into jets and stuff like that. So this is just one of those issues that, just holds special to me. So I'd love to get another copy of this, a little bit, a way higher grade if I could, and then get this guy sent off. But yeah, that is everything I'm looking at to get graded in the near future. And like I said, I was going to share what I have graded right now, just so anybody who is watching this, aside from Big E, if you're not really familiar with what a graded comic is, I can show you the ones I have, and it kind of gives you an idea. I always keep them really nearby because I like to look at them because they're pretty. First up is my Batman #1, New 52, second printing, unfortunately. I would like to find a first printing. I've been contemplating selling this one, but I guess the second printing kind of had a low run like the fifth printing, and it's kind of sort of sought after, but I would really like to have a first printing, and this guy is a 9.4. And what they do with the grading is they kind of, they look for white pages, what printing it is, stuff like that, but the score is primarily just the quality of the comic. I don't think I've ever seen a 10 comic. I think I've maybe seen one. But when I sent this off and got a 9.4, I was pretty satisfied with that because I know I'm taking care of my books. Could I take care of them better? Probably, because I want to get a 9.8. That's the usual, like, top tier score. Then what I got on eBay was Infinity Gauntlet number 5. I always want to say number 6, which also is a 9.4. This is a series I'm trying to get all of them. I've been watching a couple of eBay auctions with pretty good grades of the unslabbed comics. So see if I can get those kind of on the cheap. I saw a couple of the issues where they only wanted like $10 for them. So I'm keeping an eye out on those right now. They got a few days left on them. Then we have Indestructible Hulk number 1, the Scotty Young variant. And it is signed by, I always forget, I know it's signed by Scotty Young, which is the main reason I wanted to pick it up, but it's also signed by Mark Waid. This was my first gold signature series, CGC. See, it's a little bit different. They have to actually authenticate the signatures. You have Mark Waid and Scotty Young there. And when they, like, I have a couple of George Perez signed books. I don't think if I sent those in, they would actually be like, oh, okay, that's George Perez signature, it's gold series. They usually have to have a CGC representative there to be like, okay, that is him signing it, that's authentic. But that guy there. And then the other one I have is Deadpool's Secret Wars number 1. Again, the gold signature series signed by Scotty Young. I love Scotty Young work. That's why I picked this guy up. And I got it pretty cheap. I got it for about $60. Comic Shop wanted 90 something, I think it was. So yeah, it was on, they had a little sale on CGC books. So I picked this guy up as well. So that's all my CGC stuff. That's all the stuff I want to get sent off and graded. And I'll eventually do it. I just don't know when. But yeah, I want to share that with you, Biggie, and everybody else. And as usual, congratulations to you, Enrique. You're doing a great job over there. I love checking out everything. You are very enthusiastic and excited about any book you pick up, which is part of the reason you're so much fun to watch. You pick up like any book and you're just like, this is it, man. This is the book. I gotta have this one right here. This one right here is graded. Oh, this is sweet. You know, you are always just like hyped, and that's why I love watching you, man. So congratulations on your growth. I hope you liked all the cool stuff you saw, and I'll just go ahead and accept the number 1 prize pack now because I mean, it's me. You know, give me a prize, man. Give me a prize, man. But yeah, man, Enrique, thank you. You're a great guy. Keep growing. And until next video, this is Adam, signing off.